From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big morning here on Mornings LA with incredible great details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this early morning's broadcast, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. Then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of checks are coming to the American people. We'll go over what happened with the passage of the recon by Vote-A-Rama yesterday. And then we cut to the big developing details of the House coming back in session. Steny Hoyer, as I so promised and represented and reported, called them back into session immediately after the recon passed the Senate. So what's next? I have all the details coming up in this video. And then we cut to fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up a lifetime. That's coming in just a few days from now as we head into September. And meantime, the big money that viewers continue to get, $32,000, $40,000, $50,000. I'm going to show you how you get this big money. The toast is toast and the butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here. Let's get to all the deliciousness. Let's get to all the wonderful stuff, except the bacon, which is still missing after all these months. This is Early Mornings LA. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Hope you're having a beautiful day across the board. And boy, how the weather has been. It's just been wonderful here in Southern California. Along the beach here in Santa Monica, it has been cool at night, cool in the mornings, and perfect during the day. But how's the weather where you are? Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from. And how's the weather? In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, this early morning's broadcast, we'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why the Democrats are likely to give you more months of checks. And then we cut to the recon. Done deal. $3.5 trillion of the recon package has been unlocked, passed in the Senate. The Vote-A-Rama has ended quicker than initially thought, and I'll have all the details for you as well. Then we cut to the voting process after this as we head over to the House. What's happening next? I'll explain all the details in this early morning's broadcast. Then we cut to fifth stimulus, which is just days away from now, and this heats up by raising your benefits lifetime. And this is what was promised during the campaign trail. It's now happening. Finally, we cut to the big money that viewers continue to get, like Mark, who got over $50,000 for this channel. I'm going to show you how you can get these big sums of money as viewers continually getting $32,000 and more. And this is Mornings LA, early Mornings LA. How are you? Thank you for joining me. And subscribe. America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, like right now, with Overnight's Crypto, and then taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. This video will automatically take you there when this show is over. Then a new live show of Mornings LA at 9 a.m. Then at noontime at 11 a.m., live on air. Then the afternoons, new shows taped across the board with afternoons, evenings, and wow. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family and channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's get right into the details starting right now. House versus Senate, Senate versus House. Monthly stimulus checks, they both represent. They're giving it to you. So how many checks are we talking about, and when are those checks running from? Let's go over the details. House, pandemic plus 1 year. Senate, July to December. Let's go over the payouts. $1,000 a month for the House. And then Senate, unknown, but word on the street is it's this deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. When you look at the House bill, wow, everything has changed because now we have mask mandates. Now we have vaccine mandates. Now we have the active military reportedly going to get a vaccine mandate. We have vaccine mandates coming locally, city, state, and nationally across the board. So with that, the House bill pays pandemic plus 1 year. That means that you would get more than 1 year of checks from that House, which means you would get more than $13,000 from that House. Compare that to this in the Senate. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House of Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that. You got a third, you're getting a fourth. Single individual, $75,000 or less, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check, double it. Family of four, Democrats represent, you get a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats represent, you get a fourth forced stimulus check. The forced stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The forced stimulus check would be the same amount for adult dependents and everyone else. And the forced stimulus check is not a waivable check. So if you're at the Dodgers game and you see that wave coming through the stadium and you're in the stadium and you're about to go, hey, wave. And then you look to your left, there's the check. Oh, I haven't seen you since the beach, the check. Hey, how are you doing, the check? Didn't wave back. In fact, didn't do the Dodgers wave. What's going on here, check? You're a rude check. No, it's not a root check. It's just not a waivable check. It's also a Giants fan. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over the incredible details of the Votorama. How that Votorama did not have much Rama to it. In fact, it was a quick vote. That's what I told you. Passed. Recon passed in the House, in the Senate. Yes, off we go to the House of Representatives. Very exciting news. I'll go over all the details in the second half of this video. Then we go over the incredible details of what happens next. The House is coming on back, sort of like Mr. Carter. They're coming on back. Welcome back. And they'll be voting on your recon next. I'll go over the dates and the breaking news about what Chuck Schumer said of what's happening after that in the Senate. Then we cut to fist stimulus, which raises your benefits up lifetime. But first, let's get some money. Get a pen and paper ready. If you're new to this channel, welcome. If you're a recurring viewer and never got this money, I want you to get it today. If you got one sum of money, I want you to get the other one starting right now. Get that pen and paper ready. We are going to get some rent, some utilities, some food, some internet as a family. I want you to get the money. I want you to make the effort to get it because I know you can. You can push as a purple power so you can find the money as well. So let's start with some rent. I said I can get you 46 months of rent, about $5,000. Well, I undervalue that just a little bit. Here you go. OMG, $27,000 for rent gotten from Elizabeth. Then Mark got $25,000 for rent. Nancy, $24,000 for rent. Richard, $22,000. Nisi, $20,000 for rent. If you had a success story, always send it to me on DM on social media. I'll do it on air as well. This is the stuff that's coming on in. Pamela got $12,000 for rent. Carla got multiple items. Tiffany got $13,000 for rent and other items. Randy got $6,000 for rent and other items. Jennifer got $6,000 for rent and other items. And Celia got multiple sums of money. When we talk about utilities, $300 was what I initially said. I was wrong. Are you ready? Bam. Oh, my goodness. Nancy got $7,000 for utilities. Mark got $6,500 for utilities. Angela got $5,000 for utilities. This is water, gas, electric, heating, oil. Then when we turn to Snap, we're talking about money for food. And I said maybe that's $5,000 to $6,000 I can get you. Are you ready for this one? This one's a big one. This one's a big one. Are you ready? Here we go. Bam. Whoa. Louis got $18,000. Louis, congratulations. John, $10,000, $12,000 for John for Snap. Nancy, $5,000. And boy, viewers who got multiple sums of money, 3 items, 2 items. Are you ready to see this deliciousness? Here we go. Oh my goodness, Nancy, congratulations. $32,000 obtained by Nancy from this channel for rent, utilities, and Snap as a Purple Hawk. Nisi as a Purple Hawk got $23,000 for rent, utilities, and Snap. And Mark as a Purple Hawk with 2 items got $32,000. You're seeing viewers getting these massive sums of money as Purple Hawks, as members of this channel across the board. But Mark was a little bit different because Mark had 2 items at $32,000. And I said, Mark, well, wait a second. How come you didn't get rent? How come you didn't get Snap? And for over 7 days of recordings on air, I addressed Mark on camera. I said, Mark, go get that Snap. Go get that Snap because Snap is easy to apply for. And so he did. How much do you think Mark got for Snap? Do you think it's $2,000, $3,000? I thought maybe it was going to be $8,000. Maybe it'll bring him to $40,000. Oh my goodness. Are you ready for this one? Here we go. Mark got $19,000 for Snap, bringing his grand total to $50,000. Wow. Congratulations. And this is Lalate. This is what we've been doing since day one of this channel. This channel launched in spring of last year. And I stepped forward because people's EIDL grants and EIDL loans were not getting approved. I stepped on camera and handheld them through the application process. Off camera in the middle of the night, I was doing their application, going through their applications by DM and private messaging. My volunteers were helping them as well. And we got $25 million of EIDL loans cash approved. Then it falls 2020. Second stimulus was not coming. So I said, hey, you need some money for bills. And I got viewers $250,000, like Tyrone and his family 4 out of Boston. Got $15,000 for rent, paid all their rent to the new year and more. And now we're doing it the same way. The only difference is the numbers are even bigger than now. We may be doing upwards of over $250,000 a week. We're doing enormous sums of money because you are pouncing. So get that pen and paper ready. Today is your day to get that big money. I'm going to show you how to get this big money. You can do it. You can personally do it. I want you to go get that money. So you're going to reach out to different places with different eligibility. I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. There's every state in the country that is paying money. Then they all have different eligibility, and they also have their own pots of money. Are you ready? Also listen to the keywords I'm about to tell you. Viewers tell me to say that really helps them. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your county house authority, your state hall, your state house authority. The keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance, or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Mitch's popularity fan club. And there you go. Congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money. If you got money for rent or utilities, post in the live chat. Let's go now to some Snap. Snap is incredible. Mark got $19,000 for Snap. Louis got $18,000. John $10,000 to $12,000, and Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and her mom, and Gail got as well. What is Snap? Snap is money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. What's the eligibility? Easier than a stimulus check. Why would you not get it? A family of 4 out of Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow. Why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. We're killing it. You're killing it. We're only a few minutes in this video. And viewers are getting $27,000 for rent, $19,000 for Snap, $9,000 for utilities, and we're just getting started. The next pile of money is even better. If you got Snap as well, post in the live chat. The next pile of money is the refund check coming back from your state due to overpayment and unemployment benefits and a computer error. One viewer got $5,000 for this. Another viewer got $3,500. So where's that landing? Direct deposit. How do you track it? Contact your state. Say, hi, state. Where's that check due to overpayment of unemployment benefits? And can you turn on a computer when you track it this time? It sort of helps. And finally, the refund check coming back from your state. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it, and it's deliciousness. Why? Because it's a waivable check. Sorry, bitch. Yes, IRS confirms that this is a waivable check. A new waiver comes every week. Average payment is about $1,200. A direct deposit and a mailed check every week. More about that in a second. But first, a personal message. If you're on the live chat, post your success stories for rent, utilities, food, and internet right now, because the spirit of this channel is me helping you and you helping others. And every time you post your success story, you help other people multiple ways. Let's go over all the ways you help them. First, when you post your success story, you inspire other people to get the money, because then they see that you got $100 for water or $1,000 for gas. And then they realize, wait a second, I have a gas bill. I'd love to have that bill paid for. Then you reveal when you say that you got Snap. A lot of people never heard of Snap until they found this channel. Louis Maui never heard of Snap and got, I think it was almost $700, $800 a month because of this channel. So people sometimes never even heard of Snap. You saw Mark, he had not even considered Snap until I told him to go get it and got $19,000. Second, you inspire people to understand they need to get multiple sums of money. Art Sullivan got 3 items. Nisi got 3 items. They inspired Nancy to go get 3 items as well. Then Mark only had 2, and they inspired him to get the other one, as I said, told him to do as well. All right, let's cut back to those unemployment benefits. Also, posting your success stories updates us about the numbers in the live chat, because sometimes these numbers are much bigger than we thought. All right, back to those unemployment benefits. Where are they landing? Everything you need to know. First, if you paid about $9,000 of total taxes, of which $5,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits, and $5,000 was your total taxes, and $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. Can you track it? Yeah, go to irs.gov and do a transcript search, and 70% of the time it'll work. It'll reveal the taxes you paid and the tax return you filed, and then it'll reveal stuff that you never knew, and some stuff you wish you never had heard. Like when Ron Wyden was on The Masked Singer, did he play one of the small characters, short characters? No, of course he didn't, because he's too tall. And there you go. Can we top that? Yes. It also will reveal the refund check you get back from IRS. As we go into the second part of your 4th stimulus check update 2021, starting right now. Done deal. Your 4th stimulus recon has passed the U.S. Senate for procedural purposes. Done deal. I had told you it was going to happen, and now it happened. Over the last few weeks, I said done deal because the Democratic senators had met twice in caucus and said they're going to pass the fourth stimulus recon with a $3.5 trillion price tag, and then it was going to be an easy vote to call. And it was. It was done in seconds. Here's what you need to know, is that the first stimulus package, second stimulus package, and third stimulus package were a certain size. This one, the fourth, is enormously bigger. It's $3.5 trillion. We've never seen a stimulus package this big. That's number one. Number two, the prior stimulus packages were almost all for corporations, about 80% for corporations, and very little money for the American people. This one is all for the American people. So there's a lot of room for stimulus checks to go into this one. All right, with that, let's cut to the deliciousness of how this happened. Well, by taking roads and bridges out of the recon, it made the recon passable and the roads and bridges passable. A conservative publication confirms my reporting recently. The higher the price tag was on the recon before, the harder it was to pass. There you go. Confirmation. By allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon and put it into the bipartisan roads and bridges, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller. There you go. In other words, the bipartisan made the recon passable. But it's also vice versa. Because now, as we start the day, both of them have now passed the U.S. Senate. So how did they do this? The progressives were shrinking the recon by taking roads and bridges out, but then bring it back up to a big number. And that big number was $3.5 trillion. Done, deal, passed. The Democratic progressives were meeting with the White House daily, the caucus, from both the Senate and the House to ensure they got a big enough recon they wanted. $3.5 trillion was the number they wanted, and they got it, passed. We have Richie Torres said we need a big enough recon, and you got it, Richie, passed, $3.5 trillion. We have Ilhan Omar, representative out of Minnesota, said we have to have a recon that goes as far as we want it. You got it, passed, $3.5 trillion. And you had the Progressive Caucus asking for that big number daily, got it, passed. They also protected the recon, and was how they did this. The president had told the progressives, protect my recon, because everything in there is progressive priorities, and that's what they did. Brian Schatz, Democrat Hawaii, says the progressive priorities we're told that the progressive priorities in the recon are the White House's own priorities, and that's what they did. They protected the recon. So Jalopal as well. So what's a recon? What is a bipartisan? Let's go over the terminology so it's separated out. Then we're going to go over what's a recon procedural versus a recon substantive. All right, so recon versus bipartisan. Recon refers to your money, and recon is also reconciliation, or also called the budget bill. Price tag $3.5 trillion. People quote an article about it, AOC or Bernie. Bipartisan refers to roads and bridges, also infrastructure. Price tag $1.5 trillion. People quote an article about it. Kristen Sinema, Ron Portman, or Mitt Romney. I just noticed on air that I had this graphic right next to this, and right next to the prior one. And this was the one I used to always show you, that there are three bills: recon procedural, recon substantive, recon, and bipartisan. That was the second graphic I would always used to show you, but I haven't showed it to you recently. So I'm glad it's right where it is, because that was the next subject I was about to go to, which is what's the difference between recon procedural and recon substantive. So recon procedural, as you remember back a few weeks ago, is the tow truck, and recon substantive is the tow hitch. The tow truck first goes over the finish line, and then the tow truck goes back and picks up the tow hitch, the recon substantive. So what is the recon procedural, and what happened? So yesterday, the recon procedural passed the U.S. Senate. What does this mean? Well, they had to address two subject matters. One, do you agree to do a recon substantive at a later date at a price tag of $3.5 trillion? Yes. And do you agree that of that $3.5 trillion, you're going to separate it into different committees of the U.S. government that will determine at a later date how to spend the money? And this is how it's going to separate. $10 for this committee, $4 for this committee. Yes, done. That's it. That's all that recon procedural is. It's called non-binding because no one has to determine how to spend the money in those committees. It's just giving the money to the committees to them decide in bill format or to propose in bill format for recon substantive how they'll spend the money at a later date. So that has now passed. Let's go over to recon substantive. So recon substantive means once the recon procedural has passed over the finish line, then let's say the subcommittee, the committee that's been dedicated $1 billion, decides how to spend the money, writes it up, and that becomes what is the substantive recon. Here's what you need to know: is the recon substantive is written by those House subcommittee members, which have been writing it over the last few weeks, and will be finishing in the next few weeks as well. Those subcommittees are delegated different subject matters due to how they're separated under the Constitution. For example, House Ways and Means is responsible for writing about stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. When those subcommittees are done writing how to spend the money they've been dedicated under recon procedural, those languages are combined. Let's say it's 10 subcommittees and 10 pages they write, they combine it. That's 100 pages, send it up to Chuck, and that is put an S on top of it. That is your recon substantive. That then Chuck calls for a vote. That recon substantive is the whole kit and caboodle, which determines where money is to be spent of the money that's been dedicated to these committees. So here is what you need to know, is that there is recommendations as to how to spend the money so far, but that is ultimately up to the writers of the legislation, and those writers are the House subcommittees. So how did we get to this wonderful spot? From Jalapal, who wrote Schumer a letter recently saying, Chuck called the vote on the recon. Well, they did, and they called the vote on the recon, which is now passed recon procedural in the Senate. The letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, who are part of 100-plus House Democrats, who recently wrote the president a letter saying, we're going to write monthly forced stimulus checks in the forced stimulus package when we write it. Well, they're writing right now. So you have to push purple power and make sure these people keep their promise with stimulus checks that are reoccurring. Can we top that? Yes. As 7 members of the House Ways and Means Committee recently wrote the president a letter saying, when we write for stimulus recon, we're going to be writing monthly reoccurring stimulus checks in there. Well, they got the $3.5 trillion. Go spend it now the correct way. So you have to push purple power and make sure these people keep their promise to write in that in the recon substantive. Can we top that? Yes, we can, as the president did it. He got a global minimum corporate tax rate into law just a few days ago, and this is huge because now it no longer needs to be in the recon. It makes it easier to write the recon, easier to call the vote on the recon, easier to vote on the recon, and easier to pass the recon, because this confusing thing is not in there. Can we top that? We can. As we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, I will be going over the breaking details that happened yesterday. There was no less than 3 items that broke exactly as I said they're going to happen, to the T. There was 2 fake narratives that came out exactly when I said the fake narratives were going to come out, and they were disproven. And then we're going to turn to what's happening in August, what's happening a few days thereafter, and we're going to turn to fistimals as well. A lot of details coming up. Stay to the final 15 minutes of this video. But first, coming up is the volunteers. If you're having problems finding that rent or utilities and food and internet, and you've tried to look for it yourself, don't worry. Reach out to the volunteers. They embody the Purple Power spirit because they're helping you. They're viewers who have stepped forward to help you get this big money. So first, try to find the money yourself. If you can't, then they have your back. How do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down the description until you find the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They can help you get that rent, utilities, mortgages, and homeowners' utilities as well. And here's a little bit about them. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Early Mornings Ally continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. They're Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals. Reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Daily for the excitement of the new LA live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA at 9 a.m. Home LA returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA. And the excitement continues on this early morning to LA. The toast is toast and the butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here, and away we go into the House of Representatives. Your recon procedure has passed the U.S. Senate. Congratulations. Off to the Senate, off to the House we go. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over all the details happening across the board. Stay with this channel all throughout the day because there's going to be a lot of breaking news happening. Also this weekend, stay with this channel because there's expected to be a lot of major developments from the House as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. Every like helps. Consider liking the video right now. Helps in the algorithm rankings. And consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, so you get access to all that incredible money under third, second, and first tiers. And with that, let's cut to what the president will be doing next or not doing next. The president during the campaign trail promised the American people he was going to raise your benefits up if you're on SSI and SSDI. He did not deliver. Then during the transition papers, he said he was going to do it. He did not deliver. So what's going on then in just a few days? The Democratic caucus is taking care of it for you in what's called fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus heats up within days in which the Democrats are taking care of this with the SSI reform. What are they going to do? First, they're going to start drafting in September. They're calling a call to a vote by November, which would impact your benefits in November, lift your benefits then next year as well with a new benchmark applying in December. Let's go over how that calculates starting right now. Step number one, they'll raise your benefits up a lifetime. Then they'll remove the asset limit. Then apply an inflationary benchmark. Remove the income exclusion and remove the marriage penalty. Who is this apply for? You, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. First thing they'll do is raise your benefits up. Then they'll apply the new benchmark. The new benchmark will be inflation. And one of the things you saw across the broadcast media everywhere yesterday was how inflation is going to be transitory. That word you hear on this channel. Jay Powell says inflation will be transitory, a fancy word for temporary spike. That temporary spike will happen in December before inflation goes back down. How high will it spike? I've been reporting it's going to be about 5%. But let's use that number as an example. First, they'll raise your benefits up, then they'll apply the benchmark, and that means your benefits will step up another 5%, not just next year, but lifetime. And once your benefits step up, they never step down. So the inflation rate is 2%. If the inflation rate is 2% the year after that, you'll be at plus 5, plus 2%. It's incredible, great news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. It's going away. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960 law that says you can't have more than $3,000, that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to go away. And love is going to win, and you'll be able to do a pair dance at your own wedding. You'll no longer fear loss of benefits, and if your benefits were ended, they'll be restored. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. Meantime, fifth stimulus will have another stimulus check, and that will be happening in the fifth stimulus package the House Ways and Means Committee represent. And finally, if you're in the live chat and you've not become a Purple Hawk, do so right away. The link is under the video where it says join here. When you become a Purple Hawk, I send you daily from the YouTube community page a breakdown of all the money that's available for you to get under third stimulus, second stimulus, fourth propose, and fifth propose. Why? Because all the big money is application based. Here's what you need to know, is that when this channel launched in April last year, I was covering EIDL. I wasn't covering stimulus. But I saw a lot of people saying in, let's say, May of last year, I need that stimulus check to land exactly today in May because I'm dependent on the check. And I thought, why are people making themselves dependent upon one event, which may not happen? And it didn't happen. The check didn't come in May or June or July. In fact, it didn't come to January of 2021. That was the second stimulus check. And here, well, in some cases, it came in December of 2020. And here's what happened was I said, when December came along, we realized it was going to be a $600 stimulus check. I said, don't be focused on the $600 stimulus check because it's going to come, you're going to spend it, and then you're going to wonder where the next one is. And there is no next $600 stimulus check. I said, get the other big pots of money that are on a second stimulus, rent, food, more. Money not $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. And that's what happened. Tyrone and his family out of Boston got $15,000, giving himself financial freedom, financial independence for rent bills for nearly 6 months, having the federal government pay his rent bills for nearly 6 months, financial independence for rent. And then in January of this year, I launched the Purple Hawks, to refer to people who pounce and get the big sums of money that are in these stimulus packages before anyone else. They're mostly application-based. And I said, You got to pounce and get this big money. Yeah, there'll be a fortunate loss. Stimulus check should not be focused on it or dependent upon it. You should be getting these other big sums of money in these stimulus packages so you are financially independent. Here's an example. When you look at the federal government's perception of you, they understand you have some bills. Maybe you got 7 different bills: rent, utilities, food, internet, medical bills. And then you got to get a new backpack for the grandkid, and you need to fix the leaking oil in the car in the driveway. Okay, the federal government is not going to fix the car and is not going to get the backpack for the grandkid. They're not going to pick up those bills, but they'll pick up your rent or the utilities or the mortgage or the medical. They'll pick up some of those bills in these stimulus packages. And so what financial independence means is, if the federal government has allocated money for you in the stimulus package for you to get for these first 5 items, get the federal government to pay for those items. Because then you have financial independence from those bills. You no longer have to pay those bills because the federal government is picking them up for a few months. And when they pick up those bills, then you freed up money that you have normally spent to pay those bills. Now you have extra cash on hand to pay for the backpack and to fix the car. And that's how financial independence works. And that's why Purple Hawks are getting these massive sums of money, because they understand this is big money. It's available for me to get, and I want to be financially independent. I do not want to be dependent upon the arrival of one check when I could be getting $27,000 for rent. Why should I be dependent upon a December 2020 $600 stimulus check? And there you go. And with that, we go into the final 15 minutes of this video before I'm about to choke to death. Starting right now. Deal done. Wow. The recon has passed. The recon procedure has passed the U.S. Senate, and it happened yesterday. No less than 3 things, which I told you was going to happen, happened exactly. Number 1, I had told you over the last 2 weeks that the recon was a done deal, and I always had someone say, how can you say it's a done deal? They haven't voted on the recon. I said it was very simple, because the Democratic senators had met in caucus, which is private meetings, and all 50 of 50 said they're passing the recon at $3.5 trillion. There was nothing else to talk about. And that's what happened. They called it for a vote, and they passed it. $3.5 trillion. They passed it in 11 hours when they were allotted 50 hours to deal with it. Number 2, I had told you that putting the recon after the roads and bridges was going to help you, because the senators had been in session the longest time in nearly a decade. 7 days a week, 16-hour days for 3 weeks with no break. And we're all raising their hands saying, I am exhausted. I have no more energy. I'm over 80 years of age. I don't want to do any more of this. I want a break. I want it done. So I said they're going to look at the recon and say, you know what? I can't go 2 days nonstop on this. I'm going to faint. And you can't have me up at 2 a.m. every single day doing these bills. I can't do it anymore. And that's what happened. That's also what happened. They looked at it and they said, you know what? Just the Democrats want to just go ahead and just do it. I'm not going to fight this anymore. It's going to pass. And after 11 hours, they were done. They were supposed to spend 50 hours. They barely even got, they even barely even got to the taco truck. Then the third thing I told you was going to happen was that within minutes of the recon passing, I specifically identified Steny Hoyer, if you remember from yesterday's video, that he was going to step forward and say, okay, I'm ordering the House back into session. He did. Within minutes of the recon passing, the Votorama in the Senate, Steny Hoyer from the House said the House is ordered back into session. And they're coming back within about the August 26th, August 27th. There you go. And broadcast media said, it's earlier than we thought. No, it's not earlier than I thought. Maybe earlier than you thought. Finally, I had also told you that the fake narratives of the last 11th hour were going to come out with the Kristen Sinema, Joe Manchin, Grim Reaper stories. And they did, and they were all hideously buffoonery wrong. Late last night, after my last evening's LA recording, there they were. They sort of appeared out of nowhere. That Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema are going to block the recon and demand it be reduced from 3.5 to 2.5 trillion. It never happened. It's just like, yeah. Can we just do some more Fairyland stories? So that they thought that I guess that was going to be a great read overnight. No, people were just not watching that last night. So that was that. So the next step is that the recon now goes to the House. The president has your back, Nancy Pelosi has your back, and Jalopal has your back. First, the president confirms to the American people that he's not going to sign the Roads and Bridges law unless he has the recon in totality ready to sign into law. The bipartisan, if that's the only thing that comes to me, I'm not signing it. It has to come to me with the recon. And then he says, I'm not just signing the bipartisan, forgetting the rest of what I propose the recon. Then Nancy has your back. She says she's not calling the roads and bridges if she doesn't have the whole recon. As I said, there won't be a bipartisan unless we have the whole recon, plain and simple. In fact, I will use the whole in fact, I use the word ain't. There ain't going to be bipartisan unless we have the recon passed by the Senate. Then Jalopal says the whole Democrat caucus of the House is not going to vote on the roads and bridges unless they have the whole recon. So done deal. So what is next step? Next step is the recon and now procedural. Now goes to the House. What does the House have to do? Not much at all. It's a simple task. It's not going to. First of all, it's going to pass, and number two, it's going to take 10 seconds to do. Why? Because they're only deciding two subject matters. One, do you like the $3.5 trillion price tag? Yes or no. And two, do you like how we separated the money to the following committees in the government? This committee gets $10 of it. This committee gets $20 of it. Yes or no? Done. That's all they're voting on. It's just the recon procedural. When they approve that, the president signs it. The tow truck at that point has passed over the finish line. Time now for the tow truck to pick up the tow hitch, which is the recon substantive. So the recon substantive is the actual bill that people look at for the recon bill. We do not have the bill, and we won't see the bill until it's finally written. They've presumably been writing it all along, and they have guidance as to what to put in there, but they don't have to follow that guidance. They can do what they want. Once the tow truck is passed over the finish line and the recon procedure is actually law, then those committees that are dedicated money, let's say nutrition, $100 billion, then it decides how to spend the $100 billion, writes it up in a provision and sends that up to Chuck. When is it due? Chuck Schumer confirms that the vote on the reconciliation bill starts September 15th. This requires no Republicans at all. This is easy and breezy to pass for the Democrats. Here are some of the provisions that are reportedly in that recon that they propose to have in the recon substantive. Tax break checks, free school meals for all checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, immigration reform checks, greener farming checks, election checks, internet checks, then worker checks and senior checks, lots of those. Checks for independent contractors, checks for unions, checks for workers, and then lots of checks for Medicare expansion. And seniors, checks for lowering the eligibility age, checks for dental, checks for visions, and checks for hearing care. And there you go. Finally, Chuck Schumer and Nancy and Bernie's promise to us initially was that the whole recon would be done by the August recess. Chuck Schumer certainly did not gauge his time correctly. He did not get the whole recon, meaning both the recon procedural and the recon substantive, both the tow truck and the tow hitch, done by the August recess. So we're rolling into September. Again, yes, September also heats up this stimulus as well. So we have a lot of things happening at the same time. Ultimately, let's go over a recap of everything you need to know going into the new day. They're currently in those House subcommittees writing up the language that is due by September 15th. So Purple Power, you got to push because these people may change their mind. They may do things bigger and bolder, smaller across the board. You need to push. Number two, it's a very big recon. That is all for checks for the American people. So there's a lot of room to put stimulus checks in there and no excuse for them to do anything but put stimulus checks in there. Number three, the recon procedure will be an easy thing to pass for the House. It's going to be very, very easy breezy because it's really basically two items: the price tag and the subsections. The price tag, the $3.5 trillion, was agreed upon by the progressives from the House and the progressives from the Senate, meeting with the White House the last few weeks. So it's not like they're going to sort of be blindsided by this amount. They've already agreed upon it. And finally, the president has your back by ensuring that the recon will be part of what's on his table for him to sign, not before roads and bridges as well. And with that, there's expected to be a lot of major changes across the board in the next few days, especially this weekend. So stay with me. The story is far from still developing. You can see how Chuck Schumer moved the goalposts a lot in the last 24 hours, and those goalposts will continue to move throughout the rest of the week, this weekend, and also today. So stay with this channel. Meantime, stay on this channel, stay on this video, because right after this video is over, it'll automatically take you to Overnight's Crypto. Crypto is on fire. In the last 48 hours, if you did not watch the Overnight's Crypto show, watch this one. Crypto has gone from a bear market to a bull market on fire in the last 48 hours. We had a lot of coins that have gone up nearly 20 to 30% in 2 days, recouping all their losses of nearly 3 months in 2 hours. We haven't seen anything like this in a very long time. The next few days are critical for crypto. Meantime, stay with this channel as this channel expands into stock coverage and new videos adding to this program to ensure that you get financial freedom. So you learn how to be financially independent and learn how to make money. That new slate of programming is coming to this channel any moment. So stay on this video. I'll take you to Overnight's Crypto. Then Mornings LA live on air at 9 a.m. Mornings Crypto at 9:45 a.m. and noontime LA Late at 11 a.m. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused. The toast is toasting. The butter is buttering. I'm here. You're here. And if only the bacon was here as well. Stay informed, stay focused, and have a beautiful morning.